Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining me for another Break for 8 for Dementia Care Partners. My name is Anne, and today I'd like to talk about something fun for a change, right? And that is leisure activity. That one specific activity of daily living, or ADL, that is enjoyable because one of the best ways that I've found to decrease anxiety and ward off, the bad stuff that may come next if we don't catch and address anxiety in time. The stuff that comes next could be agitation or maybe even aggression. So the one thing that I think wards this off really well is engagement in meaningful activity. And I don't know about you, but when sometimes when I have too much time on my hands, and I know dementia care partners, that may be a totally foreign concept to you these days, but sometimes I start to overthink things, right? But on the other hand, when I'm engaged in something that's purposeful and interesting to me, I'm less likely to worry or ruminate about stuff that usually is really totally out of my control, right? So, in contrast, if I don't have anything going on and I'm feeling a little bit bored, again, probably a foreign concept for care partners, but boredom and inactivity can, leave us feeling sort of flat and down and unenergized and maybe even depressed, right? So meaningful activity for all of us, especially people living with dementia, can be a really great temporary fix for unpleasant emotions because, let's face it, in dementia care, we are usually dealing with things that are temporary because dementia usually is a moment-to-moment experience. So one of the things I've heard from a lot of care partners over the years is that it's really hard, it's heartbreaking to witness their person seemingly lose interest in a lot of activities that they had previously found joy in, things that occupied their time and their mind. And, one of my suspicions is that what looks like a loss of interest may actually be more related to, the decreased ability to access the cognitive skills that they need to participate in an activity that they once enjoyed. Because maybe that activity is a little bit more complex. It has multiple steps. Or maybe there's conversation involved too, and that is just a little bit too much for the brain to handle at one time. But, we can change activities to modify them or kind of simplify them so they have fewer steps. Or maybe they're a different activity, but it's kind of related, but less complex. And if we can introduce those things, oftentimes we'll see an increase in engagement. And engagement is good for so many reasons: cognitive stimulation, social stimulation, physical stimulation, all of those good things that help all of us be healthier. So I wanted to show you an example that I've used with a lot of different people. It's this little fleece blanket. You've probably seen these all over the place. So it's like a piece of fleece, and, it has little fringe that you just simply tie together, right? And then you kind of move on to the next one. You can do a double knot or a single knot, whatever works for your person. And, what we always want to remind ourselves when we're doing something like a leisure activity, really the outcome doesn't matter. If this blanket project turns out pretty, it doesn't really matter because it's the activity or the process that is helpful, engaging, and provides respite for care partners who are often just struggling to keep people entertained or at peace, right? And I've actually found this blanket useful with not only people kind of like arts and crafts kind of things, but I used it with a football player, an ex-football player once, because he had a grandbaby and we made a blanket for the baby. So lots of different ways. And of course, sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes your person may not be interested in it. And I find this particular activity good for maybe people who are in that moderate to moderate severe phase of dementia, because it has 1 or 2 steps. You pick up the ties and then you tie them together. Maybe it's about 3 steps, but usually it's a familiar task, tying, so people can remember how to do this for a long time. Like I said, it might get a little messed up, but who cares? I will give you one little tip on this too. If I'm working with a person on one end, they're working on the other, can be kind of this nice little together time. And if we run out of space and it's keeping them calm, they're engaged, they're enjoying it, I've been known to untie, after them. And, of course, obviously you have to make sure that they won't notice this, but a lot of times, they're just focused on what's right in front of them. They get that tunnel vision. So anyway, I think that's all. Oh, I wanted to show you how to make this, because you can buy these in the craft stores, but honestly, you can make it for about $5. So you go and you buy, maybe about 1 or 2 yards of fleece. If you can choose all sorts of patterns, based on their interest. And then this is a really rough pattern. You cut out the corners of the fleece, maybe into about 6 inches cuts then in length, and then you just kind of cut your fleece, your strips, your fringe rather, down to meet, and then they're just going to tie those pieces together. This is kind of what it looks like. And they're easy to wash, right? I mean, there's such a huge prevalence of dementia and Alzheimer's related projects, you can look and find on your own. But, I encourage you to be creative and try something like this, maybe. And I think the topic of meaningful activity is so, so, so important. And I have a lot more to say about it. So I think what I'll do next week is just continue talking more about activity, maybe give you a few more activity suggestions, because every person is unique and different, and not everyone's going to like to tie a fleece blanket. And we often find ourselves pivoting to something else, right? But I want to say, I keep talking about this, right? If something doesn't work once, it may work later on. So for example, I tried this with a lady who was an artist, and I thought she would love this, but she had 0 interest. But when I tried it again later, when her dementia had advanced, she was all over it. It was really, really helpful, and to the point where she was always seeking it out. I think it's soft, becomes sort of this nice sensory and comforting experience, and to the point where when she was eventually moved to hospice, this was her favorite thing to have near her. So anyway, that's it for blanket. One last thing I wanted to mention is that I am going to be out of town on vacation on Monday, so likely that you won't see anything posted, because I'm not sure what kind of internet status or access I will have. So if something appears on Monday, pleasant surprise. If not, just please, I invite you to go ahead and select another video that maybe you haven't already watched. Okay, I think that's it for now. Now it's time to kind of move into our relaxation phase to take your mini break. So go ahead and get yourself comfy. Take a breath and just begin to settle your mind, settle your body. I'll do the same. Close your eyes if you'd like. So let's just begin by taking a few cleansing breaths here. And as you do, imagine, as you exhale, imagine that breath just sweeping your mind clear of any negative thoughts or any worries or any tendencies for overthinking. up the bottom of your lungs first and then moving all the way up to the crown of your head. And on the exhale, picture that breath just clearing your mind as it flows out of your body and dissipates into the air. Let's just continue breathing this way, using your breath in the air that surrounds you, bringing you peace, more peace of mind. One of the concepts of the practice of mindfulness is to focus our attention on the task at hand. So just like working on the fleece blanket, focusing your attention on one step at a time can help empty the mind. As an example, imagine yourself getting ready to eat the most beautiful berry that you've ever seen. Notice the shape and the color and the texture of the berry. And notice your hand reaching out for the berry and becoming aware of the coolness, the firmness, the shape of the berry as you grasp it in your fingers and you bring it to your mouth. And then become aware of the texture and the taste as that berry bursts in your mouth, filling it with just refreshing flavor. Mindfulness is a quick way to settle an overactive mind. So let's just return to focus on our breath again. That deep belly breath in that reaches up to the crown of your head. Sweeping your mind clean and dissipating into the air as you exhale. Please spend a few more moments in stillness here if you can, while the music plays out. I'll see you again next time. You've got this.